Hi, and welcome to Knitting on the Float. My name is Tracy, and I'm your host. And I am coming to you from the loft area today upstairs because it is another gorgeous day in the Vancouver area, and the sun is streaming through where the couch is. So where I normally podcast, it's a little bit difficult. I've got a few streams of light hitting through here today through the triangular window above me, but a little bit easier to deal with than the full-on sun and those harsh shadows that are downstairs. So welcome. It is July 20th. I don't know how we are more than halfway through July, but we are. And I hope that you are ready to sit down, enjoy a nice beverage, some crafting time while I chatter away what I've gotten up to in the past couple of weeks. And I have to tell you, it's not a whole lot, or I look at it and I don't think it's a whole lot. I'll let you decide. Before I share what I've been working on, let me tell you where you can find me. I am Tracy RR on Ravelry, and I am at Knitting on the Float on Instagram. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. This is a podcast where I primarily chatter about knitting, and this week it is definitely all about the knitting, so welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I know it's a little bit different doing this every other week thing, and it's a different routine for me as well. So I'm just glad that we have a time to visit together, and I hope that you've had a couple of wonderful weeks wherever you are. So I know you have your requisite cup of whatever it is, and you've got your project of choice that you're working on, and that you are ready to start chattering. So let's get to some tea time. And today I am drinking out of my Mine mug. And it is Marks & Spencer Extra Strong tea. I think I'm needing the caffeine a little bit. So let us cheer to having a lovely visit today and getting lots of work done on our downtime. Cheers, because you know what? Getting lots of work done on the downtime on crafts always feels so good, doesn't it? I was doing a little bit of straightening down in my room, and I had one of those space saver bags that had some blankets in it. So what I have done is I have brought this beautiful crocheted blanket that I made several years ago, and I have shared this on the podcast. And this one's so pretty. It's a Patton's pattern, and you use cotton. I don't know what it's called, cotton tots, something like that. Anyway, this beautiful blanket with clouds and flowers and sunshine now rests on the back of my green chair here. So thought I would quickly share that with you before I got to what I've been up to the past couple of weeks. And now comes the fun part. Putting it on the back, not as nicely as I found it, but I'll fix it up later, that's okay. The past couple of weeks have been a little bit challenging for knitting, for crafting, for many things. And it all started about a month ago, and our fridge had broken down and we had to go and get a new one. So we picked up a scratch and dent, and it was being delivered on the Saturday. And there was a whole fiasco about the fridge. The doors had to come off to get it in through the door. It was a bit crazy. But what ended up happening was when the guys were having to bring it through our utility room, we moved a bunch of stuff into my bedroom. And I was carrying some stuff, and unbeknownst to me, the guys who were delivering the fridge put this big metal toolbox right in the middle of my doorway. And I walked into my room, arms full so I couldn't see. I didn't know this toolbox was there, and I tumbled and I landed on this side of my body. So not a very nice fall. And for the past few weeks, past month about, I've been just having a lot of shoulder discomfort and tingling down to my fingers. The tingling isn't constant, every once in a while. So that has reduced my knitting time considerably because it's hard to sit for a very long time. And when your hands start to tingle, it's not a very nice feeling. So not a lot of crafting, as far as I'm concerned, has been done, but I've been doing a lot of comfort knitting when I can work around the arm. Good news though, I have connected with a chiropractor that does the same type of chiropractic I did in Toronto, and I have an appointment on Monday, so hopefully soon this tingling arm will be healed because it's really driving me crazy. Okay, so what have I been up to the past couple weeks? Lots of bits and bobs, but I have an exciting new cast on, mystery knit, but I'm going to share my yarn with you. So let's start off with the bits and bobs, and I have made some progress since we last visited. I'm working on 2 different bits and bobs blankets, and the bits and bobs is a pattern by KF Jones of the Bakery Bears, and it is just such an addictive, lovely knit. And for this one that's in the Christmas bag, this one is going to be for my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, my niece, and my 2 nephews. And this is made from Nora George Yarns Advent 2019, I believe. I'm trying to remember the theme. I just remember it came in a bag and there were winter bears and winter reindeer. And I'm loving how the colors are coming up. And in fact, I'm going to insert a couple of pictures of the whole set. So I broke them into 6, laid them all out, and I'll put those photographs right here for you to see what the minis all looked like before I wound them up. Along with the minis, I am using these gorgeous sparkly hedgerow yarns speckled skeins. And I've changed one out since we last visited. I believe I've put it back in there. So the first one was called Little Princess, and it looks exactly like this one because this is a second Little Princess, and this has gold stellina. So these 2 will bookend the blanket. So I've already knit one full one there. I'm currently working on a Christmas one-of-a-kind sparkle, and then I'm going to add in this one here, which is called Sleigh Bells, and I'm not sure whether the sparkle is picking up or not. It's not too sunny up here, so it doesn't always catch the light the same way, but then sometimes I look back at the editing and sure enough there's sparkle. I was going to use a red and green Christmas sparkly one, but instead I have decided to go with this one, which is called Sweet Pea. It's got these beautiful purples, blues, greens on that off-white base, and I think that will flow really, really nicely from here into the Little Princess, and I think this multicolor will flow nicely in here too. I popped this here because there's a little bit of purple. So instead of having the next one be just the red and green on the white sparkle, I wanted to add just that little bit more of a color flow. So these will be the remaining full skeins that I'm using for this project, and I'll put those over here. And I have made some pretty good progress on this bits and bobs since we visited last. I am now on mini, I think I'm on mini 7 right now, and this is the one-of-a-kind sparkle that I am using, and it's got lots of gorgeous little bits of color in there. And then I will switch over into this one. So I think this background color will flow very, very nicely. And the mini I am using is getting very, very mini right now. I'm almost done and ready to switch to the next color, which I think I've already wound up and I've popped in. It's missing. I'm sure it'll be somewhere. I'll find it, but It's a lovely soft color, and I showed the photographs earlier. Maybe I'll find it in the wrong bag, we'll see. Anyway, and in the blink of an eye, a sneaky sip of tea, and a straighten of the blanket behind me, here I am. And this is the next mini that I will be adding to my beautiful bits and bobs. And I'm gonna put this back in the bag so I don't misplace it again. Naughty little mini. This here is my bits and bobs, which is caught on the sock machine. There we are. Here is my bits and bobs progress so far. I absolutely love knitting on this. It's just so easy to pick up, knit around a row, not around, knit a row, put it down when you need to, and it's so easy to come back to. So I do need to remember which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side. So I do have this fun little corner of craft progress keeper, and this is Darth Vader, which my in-laws are Star Wars fans, so I think that's the perfect one to have on here. And you know what? I am going to move Darth Vader up here. So he tells me that this is the right side of my work, and I'm going to move him up to where I've left off on the right side so that when we visit next, we'll see how much work I've done. Now I was saying I think that was the 7th one, but I think it's actually the 8th. So let's just count my little stripes. 1 mini, 2 mini, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I am on 7, I'm about to go on 8. And then the rest of them are in the bags. I really love this squishy pattern. It is just such a comforting knit. Easy to pick up, easy to put down, come back to again, and love it so much that I am working on 2. And it's hard to decide which of the 2 I want to work on at any given point because they are both so fun and so different. This one's great because there's the goal of getting through each of the minis, and I'm almost there. Then I'll be able to add in that next one. So this is in my gorgeous Christmas bag by Birdleg Bags, and Vicki had made this one for me several years ago, and because this is going to be a gift at Christmas, I have pulled out the Christmas bag because it's Christmas in July, right? One project that I worked on and will likely get lots of work in the next little bit. And we've got that stitch marker there to show us how much I've done. I really love the bits and bobs so much that I have 2 on the go right now. And this one I cast on the 17th of June, which was the day our fridge was delivered. That was my anniversary as well. It was not the best day. And yeah, falling and hurting myself was not a good way to celebrate my anniversary. But casting on a bits and bobs blanket was a pretty good one. So I am using lots of bits, and these are leftovers from wonderful projects that I've done in the past, different shawls, different socks, lots of wonderful happy bits of yarn are in here that really want to be revisited. And I am using these gorgeous sparkly sock blanks from Hedgerow Yarns. Now, last time we visited, I said I wasn't sure if I had any more sparkly sock blanks, and guess what? I found 2 more. So I do have this beautiful blue one, and then I've got this gorgeous white one with speckles. So I'm currently working with, oh, this one is so beautiful. I'm currently working with this blank here, and oh, it makes me so happy, especially when I get to like a little section. I'll try and say, oh, I'm going to try and get up to this purple or where the blue starts or something like that, and I'll knit away until I get there. But this blank is just so dreamy, and it's got stellina in it, silver stellina, as do these ones here. So this blue I'm going to go into the pink, into the purple, into the aqua, and then into the white sparkle, because I have a lot of extra little bits. So this is going to be a fairly large blanket, I think, after all. I am currently, as I mentioned, this blank here, holding it with this gorgeous yarn here. And this is the yarn that I used for my Handmade Sock Society pattern 3, the seed pod socks. And I am now putting it into my bits and bobs that I cast on my anniversary. And the last time we visited, I was in this bright pink section here. I've now moved into the orange, so I haven't done a whole lot on this one, but it is coming along. Now the differences between these two blankets, the one that's in the Christmas bag is going to be a little bit wider. I've added some more stitches to it. This one here is written as per the pattern. So I've got exactly the same amount of stitches that are recommended in the pattern. So it's going to be a little bit more narrow, but because I have some extra blanks and I've got lots of bits, I will have probably a very long blanket, unless I get a bit tired of knitting with it, because once it gets bigger, it is harder to knit as you go along. And this one, I am keeping track of my right side and wrong side with this gorgeous Corner of Craft dragon progress keeper here. And let's do the same that we did with Darth Vader. Let's move this little dragon up here into the orange and gorgeous blank section. And next time we visit it, we'll see how far I have come. This really is such an easy and relaxing knit. It's so easy to pick up and put down. As I mentioned when I talked about the last one, I'm not sure if I will get sick and tired of working on bits and bobs since I've got 2 on the go, but I know that I absolutely love the one that I've already finished, and I love snuggling under it. And when the nights are chilly, I've even been putting it on in the summer. I know, a little bit crazy. I have one more project to share with you, and I have put it in my gorgeous bag that Vicky from The Beautiful Stitch made me. We did a swap a couple of years back. I made her a couple of pairs of socks. She got a gorgeous pair of Feathering the Nest socks, and she made me this absolutely beautiful bag. And if you've ever seen Vicky's stuff on Instagram, she's The Beautiful Stitch. Her work is impeccable, and look at that stitchery. It's so, so beautiful. This here is housing the next Handmade Sock Society project. So pattern 4 from this year's series. So this is season 5 of the Handmade Sock Society by Curious Handmade, Helen Stewart. And the sample is done in one color, but I decided I wanted to change it up just a little bit. So I have used a beautiful sock set. And you know what? I was up here pawing around the other day. You'll see that in the epilogue. I may not have put things away. I had 2 of these. So I am using this gorgeous colorway. This is Titania by Nora George Yarns, and it is a beautiful sock set. So it's got these beautiful pinks with little bits of purple, green, blue, and there's off-white and pink throughout, and then it's got this gorgeous mini. So this is an MCN sock base, and I had 2 of these, and I just thought, I think this is going to look beautiful in the next sock. So this one is left over. So now we've seen it in the skein form. Yes, I have to pick that up afterwards. I wound up the other one, and this is the gorgeous Titania, Queen of the Fairies, and she is beautiful. I've used this colorway in a sweater that I knit. It's by Lyrical Knits, the Hit Me Baby One More Time sweater. It's a lovely short-sleeved tee, and I used this colorway. But I think I used just a regular super sock. This is the MCN base. So here is the main colorway, and I wanted to, as I mentioned, change it up a little bit. And I'm using this gorgeous mini as accents throughout my sock. So these two together are simply gorgeous. And I will be able to share this with you in 2 more weeks because the pattern will be released, I think it's August 3rd, the first Thursday in August. But in the meantime, it lives in this beautiful bag with beautiful yarn and this pattern. I'm absolutely loving it so far. And I'm really glad that I've chosen to use a sock set because it's just making it look, I think, just, I'm going to love these socks. I'm not giving these ones away. These ones are going to be for me. Anyway, those are the projects that I've worked on in the past 2 weeks. Not a whole lot. Hopefully we'll get this sorted in the next little bit. I had been hoping to do some cross stitch or some embroidery. I didn't get to that. I've also been working on a non-crafting related project in the background, so not as much time for the knitting as I would like, but hopefully soon. I did have the 2 bits and bobs, the beautiful Handmade Sock Society. I forgot I had one more knitting project to share with you, and that is in my lovely Firefly bag. Now I finished this a while back, but I finally got around to blocking it a couple of weeks ago. Well, between when we visited last, and this is the 2nd Avenue wrap. It is a pattern by Amy Miller, and I've used a kit from the Knitting Loft in Toronto. It's the Bouquet of Peonies kit. And I've popped my remaining yarns in a bag here. So this here is Dreamy. This pink and green is Peony. Down here is Burlap. This green here is Ogre, and this one on the corner is Golden Delicious. And it's in with some other lovely yarns. There's a Nora George down here, and then most of the other ones I think are Violas. Another thing to pick up off the floor. Anyway, this is my gorgeous 2nd Avenue wrap, and now that it is all blocked, it can be worn, and it is, so beautiful. It's so big, it's hard to share the entire thing, and I don't want to spill it on my tea. Anyway, this beautiful wrap will be worn in the fall because right now it is a bit too warm for it. And I'm okay with that. I like the warmth. But look at how gorgeous this wrap is. And I'm not a big fan of wraps because it gets a little bit monotonous going back and forth. But this pattern was really quite nice to do because of the stripes and all the changes. The most boring parts, challenging parts for me, were the eyelet sections because they were a little bit longer. This little Ogre section here had a lovely little stockinette and garter stripe, stockinette with garter stripes going through every so often, so that had a bit of interest. And then the rugby stripes and the stripes over here definitely provided a little bit more interest going forward. And that is now finally fully knit, fully blocked, ready for wear, and I almost forgot to share it with you. Can you believe it? Anyway, that I will pop in here for now to be taken down to the cedar chest and put away until the fall. So that is all the knitting I have to share this week, or all the crafting that I have to share this week. I have no brown paper packages, so we will head straight into bits and bobs. It's now time for bits and bobs, and this is my segment where I talk about anything and everything not necessarily knitting related. And it's been a slow couple of weeks, which it's always good in summer when it is. But yes, the main things have been my injury to my arm, but I've also got a bit of a sore heel as well. So I'm just feeling like the walking wounded. I'm definitely looking forward to getting to the chiropractor on Monday, and hopefully that will all start to resolve itself once I start getting treatment. Other things that have been happening, it's been a fairly quiet month. We did go up to Alice Lake the other day, and we drove up the Sea to Sky highway, and I did capture that on video, so I will pop in a little bit of the scenery at the end of Bits and Bobs today. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. It's been a very quiet couple of weeks. Isaac got into he was cast in another show by a group called Epilogue that will be happening at the end of August, and it's a week-long production. They start rehearsals and do the show in the week, and I think there are about 16 people in the cast, and they will be doing songs from Cole Porter. It's not that hard to say. Why I tripped over it, I don't know. So he'll be doing that at the end of August, and he's definitely looking forward to going to Langara College in their acting program, where he'll be able to just get a little bit more practical experience, because going to college during COVID for his other program, his musical theater program, it was a little bit hard to do some of those dance lessons every other week, and I think it'll be really good for him to get just that little bit more experience as well, and do some networking. Nathaniel is enjoying his time off. He is back from Toronto, and he had a lovely time visiting with his grandparents. He went to Algonquin Park, and now he's just taking it easy. He and Greg have gone out for a walk and are just enjoying a little bit of outdoor time with Scout right now. Tomorrow is his birthday. He wants sushi, so we will be doing that as well. Trying to think if there's anything else. It always comes back to me afterwards, and I go, oh yes, I should have mentioned this during Bits and Bobs, but right now, my main thing is getting my arm fixed so that I can continue working on these beautiful, beautiful projects, especially the Handmade Sock Society. Anyway, I think that's all I have for Bits and Bobs this week. It's going to be a really short episode, isn't it?
Here we are at Alice Lake, and what are you about to do, Isaac?
Paddleboard.
Gonna pump up the paddleboard with lots of air, and then you're going to take it out onto the lake. The Canada geese are all here, coming to see how to fill up a paddleboard. But a beautiful day at Lake Alice.
Thank you so much for joining me on Knitting on the Float this week. I hope that you've had a chance to sit down and relax, even if it is a much shorter time than the usual podcast. I don't feel like I've gotten a whole lot of knitting done. I did forget to mention in the bits and bobs that I have plans today. I'm going to be going to Sweet Georgia Yarn Studio with a friend this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to that because Felicia's yarns are always so beautiful. And when I got back into knitting several years ago, the Purple Pearl, which had been my local yarn shop, carried a lot of Sweet Georgia yarns, and they're always just so fun. I think Felicia's now going towards more of a natural dyeing process, but I could be wrong. I will find out today when I go. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me this week. I will see you in 2 more weeks when hopefully I will have a little bit more progress done on some of these projects. Maybe I will have started a new project. I have one in mind. I'm hoping to get some stitching done as well. When you see the epilogue, you'll see that I've got a few fixes that I have to do a little bit of mending. So lots to do in the next couple of weeks. I am wishing you a wonderful couple of weeks ahead, and I look forward to sitting down with you then, sharing this gorgeous, gorgeous pattern with you. You're going to love it. But until then, have a wonderful fortnight, and I will see you soon. Bye. In a funny twist, I am actually recording this bit here before I have started the podcast. And that's because as I walked up the stairs, I found a few things. Now, one of them is my own doing. The other is not. So I'm going to quickly share the space I'm about to record in. But of course, you'll have already seen everything. So you can see what the loft, or at least my crafty side of the loft, looks like pre-recording. And probably post-recording too, because I probably won't clean it up until after I finish chatting with you. Anyway, let's take a quick look. So upon coming up the stairs, somebody was pawing through their stash the other day looking for a beautiful yarn set for the next Handmade Sock Society, and that person left a bit of a mess. So all of these just need to be put back in there. Not terrible, won't take me long. However, when I came here, and these are the projects we're going to talk about today, but I've already talked about them. Up here, this is Isaac's way of telling me I need to mend things. There is a pair of socks that has a little hole in them that I need to mend, and it looks like his favorite bag also needs a bit of a mend on the sewing machine. Anyway, let's get to my recording now, but you'll have already seen it. Hope you've had a wonderful crafting time.